first of all, I'm going to begin by blacking out my upper lash line with a waterproof gel pencil. Obviously you want it waterproof in case it transfers to the bottom. And I find the easiest way to do this is to rest your little pinky finger on your lid and slightly look down so you're not concentrating on where exactly the eye pencil's going. And this way you'll really cover the area well and you'll give it that full blacked out look, which looks so much cleaner when you're doing an eyeliner look. Using a liquid liner, at the moment I'm using this Givenchy one. It's not the best one if I'm honest with you, but for some reason I find it really easy to use on myself. So I first of all start by doing the inner corner with my eye open so I can really see what thickness I'm doing, and obviously in the inner corner you want it to be as thin as possible. And I always look back to the mirror to check exactly what I'm doing, so working in small layers and then building up, because everyone knows how easy it is to end up with a super thick line if you're having trouble with your eyeliner. So next I kind of trace the lash line and I'm really getting as close as I can to the lashes. And I'm really not focusing on making the line perfect. I just want to kind of create a trace of what I want the line to look like. Sometimes when you use felt tip pencils is when they dry out, so I like to kind of draw a little bit on my wrist to kind of get the pigment to come out again. And now I'm halfway and I'm just going to the middle. And then once I've got to the middle, I kind of take the brush backwards and I start from the outer to the inner so I can really get a nice kind of even line with even definition on each side. As you can see, the line doesn't go above my lid and everything's even. Next, I focus on the flick. So I like the flick to go from the outer corner of the eye all the way up and almost to look like a natural extension of your lashes. You don't want it to look like an obvious line. Then I'm tracing the line from the bottom outwards, looking again center to see if the eye looks good. Then I trace the line to make it thicker, starting from the outer to the inner. So I reverse the pencil again, resting my hand on my cheekbone, and I just draw the line so it's going straight into the lash line, and then I worry about connecting it later. So now as you can see I'm slowly starting to connect it and it's looking like a very fluid line. Then I go in with a little bit of a deeper liner. This one is a Milani one. It's not the easiest to use, but I do love it because it's very, very black and it has a wonderful pigmented finish. So I use the Givenchy one really for the easiness, and I'm going back in with a deeper one to really get that blacked out perfect look. And with liner you want to make no mistakes, you want it to look as perfect as possible. So I'm just going over what I already did, cleaning up the edges, making sure it's really, really sharp. So if you have slightly hooded eyes like me, you want to keep the line as thin as possible, and you also want to repeatedly check back in the mirror to see if the line is a flattering shape, because if you look in the mirror you'll definitely be able to see whether you like the shape, how it's looking, and whether you need to add more or not. So my advice to you would be to go very, very, very thin, and then sometimes you need to add corrections, and in turn that can make the line thicker. So really go as thin as possible. With a hooded eye, if you're doing a classic liner, you really want the ratio between the lash line to the lid to be as big as possible, meaning you want to see as much of the lid. It's just about the definition and the shape of the wing. So as you can see, the classic line is all about a very thin line and definition. Next up we have the classic cat eye, and for this I'm going to be using my Makeup Forever cream gel liner, which is a waterproof formula. This goes on so smooth, it's so easy to work with, and it's a waterproof product as well, so you do have to keep in mind that it's going to dry fast, but it gives me enough time to work with it and I love using it. So I'm just going to build upon this eye. I'm going to create a very bold cat eye, and I'm going to do it so the whole eye, the whole lid in fact, is taken up by the liner. So once again I'm going to look straight forward in the mirror and really see how much space we have to work with. But this one, because we're going a lot bold, you can kind of do it a little bit faster and build up the layers faster. So I'm just going on top of what I've already done, and as you can see it's jet black. It doesn't have any shine to it, it's just a beautiful formula. And I'm going right from the inner corner to make more of a straight line. And I'm looking straight back to see what the shape is like, because there's so many different shapes of liner. You can do a straight wing, you could do a very rounded wing, so you just pay attention as to what shape you're giving your eye. And I'm also going to go on top of that wing and kind of extend it out and really refine the point on the corner, always checking back in the mirror to see how things are looking. So I'm really going to concentrate on that point now, and I'm just blacking out what I've already done and kind of extending the flick outwards, because as you can see it's a very very mild flick at the moment. I want to create more of a drastic look. I wouldn't say drastic, I'd say probably dramatic. That's a lot nicer word, isn't it? Also, the great thing about using a brush to do this, especially with the gel liner, is that you can really create that beautiful gradual flick on the end that really goes from a very fine point into nothing. And you can't really create that with a felt tip liner. So if you want to go for something very refined, I do suggest using something similar to what I've used here, even if you wanted to try out the classic look as well. So next I'm going in with the Makeup Forever waterproof liner, and I'm basically going to tightline my bottom lashes for more intensity. Then I'm going back in with the Makeup Forever gel liner, and I'm going to fill in the gap to connect my top liner to my bottom, that little triangle in the corner. Now that is what's going to turn a classic kind of top heavy eye into something that's going to really round out or create more of a feline shape to the corner of the eye. So once again, you want to make sure that it's very blacked out and it's creating the perfect shape for you. Then I'm kind of bringing it down to meet the kind of liner that I put into my tight line, smudging it in between the lashes. So next I'm really bringing that black liner into the kind of outer corner of my eye. So it's kind of coming from the outer corner going all the way inner to meet up with what we did on the tight line. Next I'm using a different brush, kind of a smudger brush, a brush that I love to use and when I'm really smudging in to get kind of a smoky look on the bottom half of my eye, and I'm smudging in that black liner into the lash line, kind of similar to what we did to the top in terms of blacking it out and making sure there's no kind of skin peeping through. I think that's really the key with any of these looks, just to make sure that it's really sharp and clean. So this is my take on a classic cat eye, and it looks amazing if you have a hooded eye, and I really do think this look looks the best when you have minimal makeup on. So this is a look that my friend did. He works for Ico, well, used to work for Ico, and he is the master of eyeliner, so I wanted to recreate this look. So first of all, I'm using a Givenchy eyeliner, the one we used in the original classic eye video, or snippet shall we say, and I'm just tracing the lash line. We also have a little bit of liner left over that's kind of blacked out the tight line, so we don't need to redo that step, but obviously if you're doing this look from scratch, that would be something to consider. So I'm just going over the lash line and I'm creating kind of an opening slightly before the corner of the eye, and this is just going to open the eye up. So I'm doing exactly what I would do on the normal outer corner, but I'm slightly kind of making it into a triangle so it looks like an actual wing, and this is going to kind of open the eye up, and it's just a little bit different. So if you've never done anything like this before, just experiment with the angles, look straight on to see how it looks, and I was really pleased with that, so I carried on. And next I'm going to do something slightly different on the bottom lash. I'm tracing the lash line, but instead of following the natural curve of the lash line, I'm actually drawing a straight line opening up each line on the outer corner. So instead of following the line around, it's kind of going into a straight line. This is going to make the eye look so big, and it just is a different look to do rather than the actual normal cat eye that a lot of people do already. And I'm just kind of creating a soft wing on the outer corner, similar to what we did on the top. Now if you want to be extra creative and experimental, you can also add a little bit of nude liner on your tight line, which will look even beautiful because of the contrast, and you could even use kind of a purple smoky colour on the bottom. So I'm just kind of refining that to making sure that it comes out in a real nice point, and it's really perfect. So finishing off with the contemporary eye, this look is so fun. You can really use so many different products. You could use glitter, you could use white eyeliner. Really, the world is your oyster. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon, guys. Bye! I can't take this place. I just wanna go.